After last week's meeting, I had the opportunity to speak one-on-one with more than one of you board members. We had some conversations about a few different things, much of which we agreed upon. My question is, why are we having this conversation one-on-one? Why aren't you, the 7 of you, sitting up on that panel, having that conversation with yourselves in public so that we all hear it? We probably have a whole lot more we agree on than we disagree. The problem is that the 100 people in this room don't know it because you won't talk about it. I hope, Mr. King, you weren't here last week, so I hope that you had the opportunity to review the video online and you can hear some of the comments that were made. I'm sure more than the third speaker on what I'm sure is a long list. But I can respect the process. We know that there's a process that needs to take place, that there needs to be processes in place to ensure that our kids are safe. We take fire drills, tornado drills, lockdown drills, other safety measures. All these are in part of a process of being safe in our schools. So why aren't things like books reviewed beforehand to keep our kids safe?
Yeah.
Or if we've got situations, Mr. Wojtowicz brought up 3 motions last week. He may not be the most eloquent speaker and may not have worded it the way that a lawyer would have, for instance, but every one of you knew the point he was trying to make, yet none of you assisted him, with the exception of Mr. Wade, who did bring up a few points and tried to make some clarifications and at least seconded one of his motions. None of you assisted in him to make a motion that would help our schools and our children. Rather than be 7 people up there working together to ensure that our schools are safe for all our children and that are free from undue influences. Let's put it that way. Undue influences.
He's been really kind.
Working against one man or working as a rubber stamp for everything the administration wants. Now, I don't want to sit there and say that the administration is wrong. We might have the best administration in the state.
Probably not.
Maybe we do.
Maybe you don't.
But that doesn't mean it can't be better. And it's up to the 7 of you to challenge them to be better.
Amen.
So if there is a process that you have a question about, it's up to you to question that process. The 7 of you that elected. And as I reminded you last week, you are the representatives of the community.
You're over your time limit now. Thanks.
Thank you.
And folks, that is what we're talking about. What he basically said there is that the last few seconds when he said, you work for the community. You 7 board members, you work for us. You're not a rubber stamp over there for the administration. I think this grandfather was trying to be a little diplomatic there with his wordings, saying that we may have our administration may be the greatest, but it can always improve. Our administration, may be the best. Well, you know what? Maybes and most school administrations are very, very woke right now, folks. Let's just face it. Especially on the coast. But you know what? Even some places in flyover country, we have got blue dots, blue dots within a sea of red. But those blue dots are concentrated areas. Take, for example, Austin, Texas. Texas is red, but Austin is absolutely blue. And unfortunately, Austin is usually what controls what's happening around the state of Texas. It's a seat of government. So unfortunately, and then it's a these large school districts, even in these small, towns or municipalities, they carry a tremendous amount of power. And let's face it, folks, with the way that the federal government doles out our tax dollars to say, hey, look, you know what? if you start putting in critical race theory, if you start putting in gender queer studies, if you start putting in these kind of books or this kind of curriculum, or whatever it is that they want to sort of not educate but indoctrinate, we have grants and we have monies that we will push towards you and give to you. So a school district is taking a look at this and saying, wow, you know what, we need funding, we need money to continue our our programs or whatever. If the federal government is giving us grants or money, but it's contingent upon us putting in this curriculum, well, you know what? Okay, so we're going to take those millions of dollars because we can utilize those millions of dollars. And a lot of those dollars are being used for putting forth this agenda and this curriculum within the school system. And now they've got all these millions of dollars that they have to play with to hire people, for DIE, diversity, inclusion, equity, or equality, whatever the hell you want to call it. They've got now money to hire, counselors, for CRT and genderqueer theory and all these other, courses that parents are basically saying that's not preparing our students for the real world. Anyways, we appreciate you taking the time to watch. You've been watching the Dr. Nasir Shaikh Show. I've been your host, Dr. Nasir. If you haven't done so already, subscribe to our channel, hit that notification bell, like, share, and follow us. Put your comments down below. Let us know what you think. My final thought is, when you're right, you're right, and when you're left, you're wrong. We'll see you again next time, folks. Take care and stay safe.